The MICE segment is one of the fastest growing segments in the tourism sector in India. And if you see globally also, it has been growing at the rate of about 8%, and today it's going to touch almost a $1 trillion US dollar total business as far as MICE is concerned. Now, incidentally, India has not been able to get a very sizable share in the global MICE business, and we are still around less than 1%. Now, this ICPB in the current convention which is being held in Kochi, the main attempt and the main discussion amongst the MICE stakeholders has been as to how the government, the private sector in collaboration with their policies, with more investments, with better infrastructure, with better ease of business, how can we increase the global share of India as far as MICE segment is concerned. Now, I particularly feel that India stands a very good chance, primarily for the reason, number one, that India and Asia Pacific, they are pitched for a very high growth in tourism. Number two, MICE is related to business and business is related to economy, and India is one of the fastest growing economies today with high GDP growth and with good ease of access in terms of e-visa reforms, in terms of better connectivity globally, in terms of more and more investments and FDIs coming into India. We stand a very good chance, and this segment, to my mind, is going to grow much faster than the overall tourism sector, which is growing at about 10 to 13%, both in the foreign tourist arrivals as well as the domestic tourism. We need to take certain steps where we still feel that we are on the weaker side. India has tremendous strength, as I have mentioned, but we have to address the weaknesses, and some of the areas where we need to concentrate upon is that we want ICPB to take on the most important role of not just coordinating and as an awareness platform, but also an executive platform. The marketing, the branding, promotion, and even bidding for international events has been one of the problems and one of the issues where India has not been able to do well as compared to other nations. Now, ICPB, because of its limited objectives, because of its limited role and the scope of their existence, I think we need to have a complete transformation of ICPB. We need to strengthen them, we need to provide them more autonomy, we need to upscale the structure. We have to make it as a marketing organization, also a promotion organization. It's like a one-stop shop, and not just in terms of marketing, it has to be the leader. The leadership role is lacking as far as MICE is concerned. Cohesiveness is lacking, coordination is lacking. So I feel that none other organization than ICPB in its new avatar can deliver all the three things. And the public sector and the private sector collaboration can also be stimulated by the intervention of ICPB. I would like to appreciate the study which the Ministry of Tourism has got done very recently, and in June 2019 the study report has been released, and primarily what I have mentioned just now and what other stakeholders and all of us in the convention due to the panel discussion also thought has been already mentioned in the study report, which says that we need to transform ICPB and make it as an effective platform, and government in terms of its policies, government in terms of its concentration, particularly on the MICE sector, I think we need to tweak our policies, we need to bring in some course corrections, we need to bring in some more reforms and concentrate by having a high-level task force on MICE as well, on the lines of adventure and on the lines of cruise tourism. As I was also mentioning in the panel discussion, after having set up the task forces for cruise and adventure, we have seen a lot of development over the last 3-4 years in these two verticals. I feel that because of the coordination issues, because of integration issues, because of non-convergence between the center and the state and within the ministries of the state center, we need to have better convergence, and for that a high-level task force. And MICE should also be one of the important agenda points in the ministers' committee where all the state tourism ministers are also involved. I would also recall what we did 3 years ago when we set up a medical tourism board under the chairmanship of the Minister of Tourism. The medical tourism, where India has now become one of the top 10 destinations, has also seen a good progress over the last 3-4 years, and we see a very bright future. So I feel that even for MICE tourism, we need to focus, give some incentives, whether they are tax incentives, whether they are reduction of GST on those investors who would like to put up convention centers or exhibition centers. In fact, more than the convention centers, it is the exhibitions which are still lacking in India, because the total revenue that we are getting in terms of MICE, the exhibitions are scoring the least. So, by and large, the convention has focused on how we can increase, whether we are able to double, whether we are able to make it 15% over the next 5 years or 20% or more than that. That is not the main issue. The main issue is that India has the enabling power, India has the enabling infrastructure, we have the right environment, and as I always mention, no other time can be better than boosting the MICE sector in India than what it is now. And so we thought that this convention and what we discussed and the takeaways are going to pave the way for a very bright MICE tourism growth in the days to come.